Nearly $2 million in Massachusetts taxpayer money paid to one consulting firm.
25 Investigates has uncovered that's how much the state agency that regulates daycares shelled out in a contract now under state investigation.
Anchor and investigative reporter Carrie Cavanaugh found the state has a lot of questions about this contract.
25 Investigates broke the story in February that Commissioner Samantha Aigner-Treworgy of the Department of Early Education and Care, or EEC, was resigning from her post after 2.5 years. And at the same time, the Massachusetts Inspector General was investigating a contract that she allegedly arranged herself. We discovered Aigner-Treworgy and the consultant have been colleagues for years before either did any work in Massachusetts.
I'd like to start the meeting by publicly thanking Commissioner Sam.
When the EEC commissioner formally resigned on March 8th, its board members praised Samantha Aigner-Treworgy's leadership during the pandemic.
I knew this would be a pretty emotional moment for me.
But as 25 Investigates first reported, 25 Investigates has learned there is an active investigation. Her resignation came amid a Massachusetts Inspector General's investigation into a contract she allegedly arranged herself. A letter we exclusively obtained shows the investigation began nearly a year ago. In it, the IG requests specific communications between Aigner-Treworgy and 2 other state employees and the executives of Illinois-based consulting firm Aigner-Treworgy. According to its website, Aigner-Treworgy builds the capabilities of leaders, teams, organizations, and systems to achieve greater impact.
So what does this say to you?
I can tell from the document request that they're looking for all the documents having to do with the procurement.
Greg Sullivan is the research director at Pioneer Institute. He also spent 20 years in the Massachusetts Office of the Inspector General, leading financial bid fraud investigations. He says it appears the IG is examining the bidding process for the contracts Aigner-Treworgy got, how they were awarded, and ultimately what work was done. 25 Investigates examined state databases and found between November 2019 and November 2021, EEC paid Aigner-Treworgy more than $1.8 million for consultant services for departments, a period that included the COVID lockdown when both daycares and state agencies were closed.
This is not a small amount of money. This would represent a very substantial bid fraud case.
We also reviewed state records and learned Aigner-Treworgy was on a list of Massachusetts-approved vendors. But Sullivan says that doesn't mean an agency can automatically hand over a contract. Bid and proposal rules still apply.
They can't just pick a vendor. They can't say, I like that person and give the award.
There still has to be a bidding process.
There has to be a competition.
And contracts should be awarded based on best value, Sullivan says. We contacted the former commissioner for comment about the IG's investigation. Through her attorney, she said in part, as part of the agency's planning process, we partnered with an outside consultant to review the strategic goals and operations for EEC. I am confident the IG will find this consultant was hired in a transparent procurement process.
All it takes is for somebody with a friend, with a business associate, to skip a couple of steps and give an advantage to a company, and suddenly they're multimillionaires.
Before Aigner-Treworgy began her role as EEC commissioner, she worked in public education in Chicago. We found public records that indicate she worked for agencies in Illinois that also contracted with Elizabeth Cole, one of the founders of Aigner-Treworgy. We reached out to Aigner-Treworgy for comment about its contract and work for EEC. In an email, Cole said, in part, the firm participated in an open procurement process and was honored to be chosen to support the Department of Early Education and Care's strategic planning.
Why do you think taxpayers should care about this?
Well, taxpayers should really care about this because this is money that the taxpayers of Massachusetts have paid.
We contacted the Inspector General's office about its EEC investigation. They declined comment. We also contacted EEC and its board chair. They referred us to what Governor Baker told me the day after Aigner-Treworgy announced her resignation. Baker said there was no link between her departure and the IG's investigation. For 25 Investigates, I'm Carrie Cavanaugh.